Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. Today, we're shifting gears from our last lesson on profiling C-level workloads to something that is going to absolutely save your sanity and, honestly, your wallet. We are diving into advanced token management, specifically within ERC-1155 multi-token contracts as part of our broader track on NFTs and decentralized identity. Now, if you've been following along, you already know how to mint a single token. But what happens when you need to mint 1,000 different types of tokens all at once? Well, that is exactly what we're tackling in this explainer. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start by looking at the single minting problem, then we'll introduce batch operations, adopt a new spreadsheet mental model, peek under the hood at parallel arrays, prove the efficiency with a real gas showdown, and finally, we'll wrap up by mastering batch metadata. Let's jump right in. Section 1. The single minting problem, or as I like to call it, the DMV of Web 3. Picture this. You've just built an incredible, massive fleet of 1,000 unique cars. Pretty amazing, right? But now you have to go down to the Department of Motor Vehicles and fill out an individual manual registration form for every single car, one at a time, waiting in line for each one. Sound awful? Well, that perfectly illustrates the pain of single mints on the blockchain. You're just getting hammered with repeated per-transaction overhead every single time you call a standard mint function. On the flip side, batch minting is like walking up to that DMV clerk, handing them a single, beautifully organized spreadsheet, paying one flat processing fee, and just walking right out. Your fixed costs are totally amortized. It brings up the classic Web3 engineering dilemma, right? As our projects grow, how exactly do we scale our token distribution without completely bankrupting ourselves on transaction fees? Because let's face it, if you're deploying a massive gaming ecosystem or complex identity system, doing things one by one is just not going to cut it. Section 2. Enter batch operations, the efficient path. All right, I'd like to introduce you to your two new best friends in the ERC-1155 standard, mintBatch and safeBatchTransferFrom. These functions are built directly into the standard, and they allow you to operate at a multi-token granularity. So instead of awkwardly looping through transactions from your front end or deployment script, you fire off just one transaction, and the smart contract handles all that multi-token logic in a single internal execution loop. Now, a really crucial point here. Under the hood, the contract's storage layout hasn't magically changed. The blockchain still stores these balances in the exact same per address and per NID mapping as a single mint. We aren't bending the fundamental physics of the ledger here, we're just changing how the data gets there. Basically, we are optimizing the transport layer. Section 3. The spreadsheet mental model. Uploading the data. When you sit down to write your Hardhat deployment script, I want you to think about it like you're uploading a CSV file. First, you deploy the contract. Second, you group all your data, your token IDs and their respective supplies, and you fire off a single mint batch transaction. Finally, instead of checking those balances one by one, you just use balance of batch to verify the entire batch all at once. It is a completely bulk-oriented workflow, and it's so much cleaner. Section 4, Parallel Arrays in Action, the engine room. So let's look at how this transaction actually unpacks your data. It carries what we call parallel arrays. You send one array of IDs, like 1, 2, and 3, and a second array of amounts, like 100, 250, and 10. The smart contract loop acts exactly like a zipper. It matches row 1 to row 1, row 2 to row 2. So token ID 1 gets an initial supply of 100, token ID 2 gets 250. Makes sense, right? This whole concept of parallel arrays relies entirely on matching indices. The first item in the IDs array always maps to the first item in the amounts array. Now listen closely. If your arrays are mismatched in length, let's say you provide 3 IDs but only 2 amounts, the smart contract will immediately revert the whole transaction. It does this to protect you from corrupting your own supply logic, so you've got to keep those columns aligned. Here at Forge College, we always emphasize that combining operations into a single loop eliminates a massive amount of redundant overhead. Think about it. Every single external call to a smart contract requires setting up the execution environment, verifying signatures, and emitting baseline events. By wrapping this all up in one internal loop, we skip all that repetitive, expensive setup. Section 5. The Great Gas Showdown. Proving the efficiency. All right, the data here provides a massive aha moment. Executing 3 individual single mint transactions is going to give you a significantly higher total gas cost. But batching those exact same 3 IDs with their exact same supplies into one single mint batch transaction, it is noticeably cheaper. You can literally see the difference. And why is that? Well, it all comes down to this number right here, 21,000. In Ethereum and EVM-compatible networks, there's a base gas cost of 21,000 units just to initiate a transaction. So if you do 3 separate mints, you're paying that 21,000 base fee 3 separate times. Do a batch mint? You pay it exactly once. That alone is an absolutely massive saving. However, a quick word of caution. Batching is not some magic wand for unlimited free computing. The contract still has to pay for each individual's storage right inside that internal loop. If you try to batch mint, say, 50,000 token IDs in one go, you're going to exceed the block gas limit, and your transaction will definitely fail. You have to size your batches deliberately based on the required storage rights. Section 6, Mastering Batch Metadata, the polish. Since we're minting tokens in these large batches, we absolutely do not want to pay gas to upload individual metadata URLs for every single token ID. I mean, that would defeat the whole purpose. Thankfully, the ERC-1155 standard solves this beautifully with something called URI substitution. You simply use a generic ID placeholder in the contract's base URI. The absolute best practice here is to maintain a consistent naming convention. By pointing the base URI to a server or an IPFS gateway using that curly bracket ID placeholder, the smart contract doesn't have to store any unique strings on-chain at all. Your off-chain pipeline simply hosts files named 1.json, 2.json, and so on. As you batch mint new IDs, they're effortlessly indexed off-chain without spending a single extra drop of gas. It's brilliant. So you now have the power to mint and transfer an entire spreadsheet of tokens in a single, highly efficient transaction. But as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. How do we actually add safety controls around these massive batch transfers to ensure they aren't abused? Well, you're perfectly set up for our next explainer, where we'll dive into secure token handling and burnable tokens. Master the batch, save the gas, keep building. That is the core philosophy for scalable Web3 development. To keep hardening your smart contract engineering skills, be sure to visit forge.college and explore our full track on decentralized identity and multi-token standardizations. There is a whole world of efficiency waiting for you. Are you ready to stop wasting gas and start building smarter? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.